I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster, and this is LD and the MC.
Well, as you just heard the amazing Bob Cobb say, you have arrived at LD
and the MC.
Number 10, Dave, to finish the year on number 10, a monumental episode. And I think that we got to kick it off with Mom's Basement, the 10th Mom's Basement, MBM, as you like to say to the humpers.
I mean, it's worked 9 other times. Why not do it? And I mean, well, how good is our timing to be like, okay, show number 10. Perfect. We'll plan it on New Year's Eve. It'll work out awesome.
Yes, we will end this terrible year with another amazing LD and the MC.
And an incredible freaking New Year's sweater, if I do say so myself. I thought we were following the costume route. I mean, it's a sweater vest, I believe, bow tie and all.
Well, I went all in for Christmas, okay, as you all saw, and I felt I blew the budget. I had costume changes, and I thought we were done with that. And then today, here I arrive on set, as the professionals say, and you've got a New Year's sweater, and I like it. I do like it. I feel like you need a top hat. That would have tied it all together, but it's hard to wear a top hat.
It wouldn't fit. There's not enough room. I mean, I'd have to sit down real low like you used to at the beginning of the Humper podcast.
And you know, you kind of one-upping me in the beginning here, right? With the costume is very much. It's a perfect segue for the Mom's Basement of today.
Bring it.
And this is a comment that I received on the Luke Duncan's Traveling Circus YouTube channel from a viewer named Josh Pink. And Josh has he comments a lot on a lot of different things, and he's a funny guy. But he says, to me, this show is like the cool varsity guy hanging out with the redheaded stepkid. It's cute. It's cute, and it works. So I'm gonna take it that I'm the redheaded stepkid because I've kind of been that. So congratulations, you made Varsity, MC. With your varsity sweater.
Well, I mean, that's why I dressed up today. I'm proud of that. And I mean, when I heard it, let's get some clarity. I mean, I don't know who the varsity kid and I evidently am not a redheaded stepchild because I don't have hair. So it's got to be, but that's true. Hey, thanks for listening, whichever one you think is the redheaded stepchild. But
listen, I am one of these that I'll take either role. I can be the redheaded stepkid. You need me to step in and be varsity? I'll try. So you guys comment. Who's varsity here? Who's the redheaded stepkid? I feel like a kid every time I get to do this with the consummate professional that is the MC. So I'm kind of in his shadow in this podcast world and gratefully there, to be honest, because we're having a ball doing this. And Dave, I think we got a topic we got to discuss. I texted you about this a couple of weeks ago, and I think you've hopefully had some time to dwell on this, but I was blown away by Tiger Woods and his son a couple of weeks ago, seeing this kid, Charlie Woods, 11 years old, and he'll play golf better than 99% of grown men ever will. Already just insane, but they had this match. It was televised. It was amazing. You watch his mannerisms. He's just like his dad. And it got me thinking, have we or will we see something like this in fishing where we will have a son of a famous angler come in and dominate? Now, there have been some father-son duos, but I'm talking about Tiger was one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant golfer of all time. MC, I throw it to you. What do you think?
I think we've had, you go through all the father-son duos. I mean, number one, fishing, I think in general, whether it's brothers, father-son, I mean, there's more family connections in fishing, it seems, than almost any other sport. I mean, you'll hear the odd brothers, I know the Jones brothers both play football and those sort of things, but I'd say that probably the most dominant, Guido and Dion. I mean, that's
great one.
Guido and Dion. I mean, they
classic
both won the
champs.
classic.
Yeah.
it's pretty tough to top what Guido did, you know what I mean, as an innovator and that sort of thing. But you got to say Dion came pretty close, and I mean number 3's on the way. You know what I mean?
I know.
Third generation of the
I know.
Hibdons. But I'd say of the father son, Guido and Dion would probably be the top 2. You know, as far as accomplishments.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Roland, and it remains to see, you know, because Scott's still fishing, obviously. But the cool thing about the father-son thing, I mean, and there's so many of them, but there's like a whole other wave of them coming now.
That's
you know
right.
I mean?
That's right.
Of guys that are still completing, and their kids are on the way. You know what I mean? Whether it be Randy Howell or Alton Jones, and I saw Chapman's kid.
Brent's kid, Chris Lane.
Kid. Yeah.
Yep. Same thing. Fred Rumbanis's kids, they're all about it, man. He's posting all the time. Those kids they're catchers, man. They're out there hammering on them. So I'm with you. When we saw, Denny and Chad Brower, Chad followed along and tried, but he, as far as those accomplishments, like you said, the Hibdons, man, the 2 classics, that's the only time that's ever happened, that father-son duo. Have there ever been, I guess, Steve Kennedy and his father, right?
Yeah, Van Kennedy,
Van made
dad.
the classic. Are there any other father-son duos in your to your knowledge that have made the classic? I'm trying to think. I bet Denny and Chad made it. I bet Chad made the classic. I would have to Google that. I don't remember.
I would assume.
I would say he did at some point.
Yeah, I'd
he
assume.
fished for a while. Trying to think.
I don't know if there's another.
I don't think so. Not that jumps out.
No. I mean, there's never been ones that have been as dominant as the Hibdons, I'd say. But I mean, there might be other father-son duos out there that have done it. But I gotta ask you this: when it comes to the father-son,
Alton and Little Alton.
Well, yeah,
Little Alton
made the classic.
Little Alton made the classic. Yeah.
Well, see, when you bring up topics like this, we get in trouble.
Oh yeah, because you're gonna leave somebody out.
There's somebody right now listening, being like, "What?
Mad.
What about
What about my dad? What about my dad?" You know what?
Let me ask you this.
Sorry.
Those kids, especially that generation we're talking about that is coming along now. You know what I mean?
That's all they've ever known.
It's all they've ever known. You look at Randy Howell's kids. You know what I mean? You look at the Lanes. All those people that we've just mentioned. They grew up around the Elite Series. They grew up not around it, on it. I mean, they know what it's like to live on the road. They know what it's like the frustrations of a tournament angler. They know the work ethic it takes. When you really think about it, that's a lot of what it takes to be a professional angler. You know what I mean? You make the Elite Series, and then you see guys get momentum over time because – now I've learned the work ethic that I truly need. Now I've learned how to keep up with sponsors, but also deliver on the water.
Yeah.
Do those anglers come more equipped because of what they grew up or grew up around? Does that make them better? Or is it tougher because of the weight that they got to carry on their shoulders? I mean, you roll in. I mean, I watched it with Johnny Van Dam. I mean, Jonathan Van Dam following Kevin. Johnny had done quite a bit of stuff, but he hadn't, because he's not Kevin. You know what I mean? Like it's so hard. Even Charlie Woods, when he decides to play golf, I mean, winning one is not enough. You know what I mean? Where any other pro, it's like, wow, smart young pros won one. Super talented future pro. There's such a level. The expectations are so high. So is it easier for them or tougher for them?
I think it's going to be a mix. I mean, I think that's the only way you can answer that. I think they're going to be way better equipped than just a 20-year-old dude that didn't grow up around it, that his parents don't know anything about it, that just decides he loves bass fishing and qualifies for the elites or, whatever. They know the ins and outs of the business. They've been in the truck to hear these phone calls with their dads, with sponsors, and they know, hey, you got to go work at the convention and you got to do this. And, they know that part of it, which to make a living in this business, that's the part you got to know. You got to be able to catch them, and you got to get to know that part too. And that's where the disconnect is for a lot of guys, in my opinion, when they first start out. And so they've got that, but the expectation of Cal Lane, hey, your dad won a classic, man. When you going to win your class? When you going to do this? When you going to win your big one? To Laker Howell, hey man, your dad, long career. He's been fishing since he was 19. So, and now Lakers at that exact same age. So, they put that pressure on themselves. So I don't think, and here's another one I'll throw out there. It's also a double-edged sword, because if you're successful, the mom's basement world of the internet, well, must be nice being Randy Howell's son. Must be nice being, you know what I'm saying? That's the unfortunate part of what we do. The jealousy that they can't let them stand on their own, right? Like some fans just get nasty about it and won't let their angling ability or their ability to get sponsors stand on their own. And it'll be the same with a Charlie Woods as he's eagling a hole and doesn't care what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that will come with it too, and I talked with Randy about this very situation. It was cool because he said his youngest son, Oakley, he says he tends to be the rebel of the family and he likes to fish, but he's veering more towards basketball and doing
shooting hoops.
He's
they're wrongs by the time he gets there.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like Lakers all in, but Oakley's like, I like fishing, but I also like doing this too. So I think that's interesting because
can you imagine the financial benefit of naming your kid Oakley if he actually makes the NBA? Like, just say that to yourself. I mean,
yes.
If it was the other way around, I mean, it worked out perfectly. I mean, generally, when you call one kid Hunter and one kid Fisher, the Hunter is the Fisher and the Fisher is the Hunter.
You're setting up for failure. Yeah.
They may have nailed it perfectly. Because actually, is that a detriment or an advantage? I mean, it would be good to be Oakley in the NBA because you would assume Oakley would sponsor you and get all sorts of money. But then again, you're not going to get sponsored by any other sunglass company out there.
Forget that Costa deal. Forget it. Forget it. It's going away. Forget it. Throw it in the trash. You will not be Oakley, the Costa influencer on Instagram.
No. But I do think I agree with you. I think that there's a lot more pressure on them, but I think that the amount of doors that open because of it, that pressure sucks, but you're getting that pressure for a reason because you're getting all sorts of media around you. I mean, the media doors, you think of the amount of podcast interviews, the amount of writers, the amount of years it takes to get those relationships, you instantly have them. Instantly have the doors with sponsors and that sort of thing. So there is more pressure, but I think there's more opportunity. And I think all those guys are well-equipped anglers, and it's going to be fun to see what happens with them in the future.
They're good. They're good kids, as they say. They're good kids. Good kids.
That's what people seem to say. Yeah, they have what it takes. They honestly, they got what it takes. There's nobody that's going to argue. And that's one of the cool things I'm seeing happen with a lot of those kids too. Especially if I look at Laker. I mean, Laker's fishing tournaments all the time. He's not just in high level tournaments. He's tested himself. He's becoming better. He's got what it takes. I mean, he's going to back it up. He's not just some fake freaking influencer. And let me tell you about fake influencers. Dude, one of the most bizarre stories that is floating around right now. And if I was more professional at this job, I'd be prepared and I'd have that said clip here.
We might share it, but no.
We're not, okay? So just imagine. But there's a story rolling around right now, and it's a big theme, and it's happening in Hollywood, and it's happening in England, and it's basically Instagram influencers. And this isn't, fishing. This is much bigger than that. We're talking Jake Paul, and not so much the Jake Pauls of the world because they're offering $50 million contracts. These are the people that want to be the Jake Pauls. But basically, there's an entire industry of basically studios that pose as the inside of a private jet or a studio that allows you to take pictures around, fancy cars, you know what I mean? Luxury cars, that sort of thing. And even so much so that it's become an industry to sell old boxes. You know what I mean? Like if you buy something from Tiffany's, you can sell that box or that bag. Or if you buy something from Louis Vuitton, you can sell said box or said bag so that junior influencer can pose with their Louis Vuitton box. I mean, how messed up is that?
Dude, this is you probably went down a long, dark hallway with me on this, because this very much relates to the fishing industry, and it's the crap that drives me crazy. And I think it's better now than it was like 3 or 4 years ago, but you would see people buy these numbers of followers. Oh, I've got 300,000 likes on Facebook. Well, do you? Because you got 2 comments on that last post you threw out there, big guy. You know, that kind of stuff.
And when I look at your number 1 town, it says he's huge in Bangkok. Honestly, if you want to see who's got the fake followers, that's what you need to do. Go search on their profile, search where they're most relevant, and it'll come up. And I would assume mine would be somewhere near Toronto. I mean, that's kind of where I live. I would assume yours would be, fish.
Probably
Bangkok is not a major fishing network. If you're number 1 in Bangkok,
Tel Aviv. What? I'm huge. I'm huge in Israel. With the scammers. I'm huge.
You are.
This is so I watched, and it's along these lines. I watched a documentary the other night that I would suggest to anyone, and it's called Traffic, and it was on Hulu. Shout out Hulu if you'd like to sponsor LD and the MC. Send us a note. But this was about the fake stock exchange situation that goes on in Tel Aviv. They have high-rise buildings. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry of scammers. They go to work every day in a cubicle, and they send you targeted ads through social media, dude, where they go, oh, you want to make more money through stocks? Okay, well, send us this 30 grand. And people all over the world are sending these people money daily. It was one of the most interesting things I've ever seen, but it's a lot along these lines, man. We live in this world where people buy into this stuff.
Yeah.
Because not only are these influencers buying these boxes to show you that they're cool, or posing in front of a McLaren that they rented for the day, or the private jet studio, there are hordes and hordes of people that are like, and commenting and think that that's real. And that's the bigger issue for me, is that people buy into it, man. That's scary. It is scary, and it's an international problem.
It's very scary. I mean, it's really scary that's how. I mean, just the thought of buying a fake box, or the thought of, like, honestly, dude, I'm an idiot. I mean, but me and you desperately want people to like us. That's why we do this. I mean, I think I would love the likes of getting pictures of me in a private. Number 1, if for some reason I was in a freaking private jet, I'd be embarrassed to, number 1, post the pictures. Number 2, and if they were fake, like if you're in your fake jet, like, you're standing there with your champagne, like, it's so stupid. It's just it's like people are more concerned with being popular in the fake world,
for 1 million,
than being accepted in the real world.
Yeah. And they live online. They live their lives online, and you meet these people, and they probably be super boring, not that interesting, total letdowns. And as they hold their perfume bottles that they get paid for while they're in the fake jet, and all this stuff. And it's a really weird world. And it definitely, though, man, it does come back to fishing, because where can you not fake it? On the water. In turn, and that's why I think I'm sure there's a company right now. We will give you a 35-pound limit to hold up. Dude, I would not doubt it. And I know some thirsty anglers out there probably be like, hey, can I bring my camera guy? Can we hook them up to a crankbait? I mean, that's the unfortunate part. But I think when the YouTube world popped up, and it's very hard. You can't buy subscribers. You can't, because Dave and I, listen, we would have already done that. Yeah. So of course, trust me, we would have bought subscribers a long time ago. But you can't buy subscribers. But when these guys start coming up and they're claiming to be these great fishermen, and they have these very successful channels, I think what immediately got tournament guys kind of, turned up on the situation. Well, you can't back that up. You can't prove it, because how we've always kept score, technically, in pro fishing anyways, is through wins, checks, championships, qualified for, that sort of thing, right? And so I think that's where the great debate of, well, who's the better promoter? Who knows more about fishing? And now you take that into Instagram and Facebook, where these guys go, oh, well, I've got sponsors, and I've got 200,000 likes that they bought, and they've kind of infiltrated their way in. Or the thirst traps, which we've talked about a little bit, but the bikini chicks with it's no different from that. You are faking your way and fooling a lot of people that you are something that you're not. Like, and it's a worldwide problem in every industry, but it definitely relates back to fishing to me. I get really fired up about this one. Really
Yeah,
hard.
it's a strange time in society. Really, it's a sad time, I'd say. But let me tell you a story about a scammer, okay? Because you did tell me about the scammers, and I got excited because I do have a scammer story, and this was not in Tel Aviv. I used to be a bartender, believe it or not. When I was, trying to get the fishing thing going years ago, I was a bartender, so I'd do that all night, fish all day. And I worked in a really cool bar, but I worked during the week a lot of times. So there'd be busy times, but there'd also be times where it's just like, it's a Tuesday night in a bar, right? And I'm sitting talking. So I met this dude, and he's at Tuesday night in a bar, and he was from England. And I'm like, part of the cool thing about being a bartender is you get really good at having conversations with people and learning about people. It's a lot. It's this,
Yes, that's right.
So, I'm like, what do you do? And dude looked at me straight in the eyes like, I'm a scammer, mate. And I'm like,
just straight out with it.
I'm like, what? I'm a scammer. And I'm like, what? I mean, part of me is like, well, what do you mean? What do we scam? How do you scam? He's
what
like,
are we doing?
Oh, don't worry, mate. I don't mess with good people. I mess with the sickos. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing ever. And dude made a living this way. Now things have changed. I mean, now that you can Google whatever you want, whatever freaky stuff you want. So he's like, I sell pictures. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'll just put a little ad in the newspaper, says, girl with dog. And if you put it in the right section of the newspaper, mate, people will send you money for it. And I'm like, so you send pictures of girls and he's like, yes, I'll show you the picture. And he pulls out a picture, and it's got just a little girl with her arm on a dog, dude. It's like and I'm like, well, he's like, the sickos think it's going to be something dirty. Well, screw them. He says, I'm a vigilante.
He's Batman, for the love of God.
I'm sure
you met Batman. His name was Bruce. You met him.
I'm sure his business went under when websites started coming out that would let people look up whatever they wanted, but it was the weirdest
thing you want to see.
Was proud of the fact I'm a scammer.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, he was very proud of it. He was very
proud. That's like a little bit of that. What was the show? NBC, To Catch a Predator, where they would bait the dudes in, thinking they're talking to a 13-year-old because they're sickos, and they're showing up, and that dude would walk in and say, "Hey, Frank.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?" "Nothing. I just got an Xbox and a 6-pack of beer." And he would run, always trying to jump out a window or whatever. There's somebody on TikTok now doing that, but they're doing like this amateur vigilante thing. And actually,
I've seen those.
Dude, that's got to be risky though, right? Like I feel like you are taking your life, and God bless them for doing this, because there's nothing worse than somebody that want to hurt a child. But there's a lady, and I saw it last night. And she rolls up on a guy at a gas station like, "Hey man, what you doing here?" And they immediately try to back out, but then she's got texts and she's got all this stuff. And dude, some of these people get really, try to get violent. They try to get like but that's vigilante. That's like a freaking Marvel movie, man.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, this guy kind of wasn't like a vigilante. This guy was a scumbag. That was just,
but it's.
But those vigilantes,
cool.
they're crazy,
he was taking
man.
advantage of creeps, though. I like that he was taking advantage of the sickos. I do like that part of the story.
Yeah, he was proud of it. I mean, he was a good tipper. I liked him. I mean, he was good. He was a good tipper.
Okay, so I have to ask this because this is the 10th episode of LD and the MC, and I think all of the fans want to know, what was your specialty, Mercer? Hey man, my guy at this bar makes the best. Insert the MC special here. What was your move? Your Tom Cruise cocktail. Okay. Let's hear it.
I'm going to tell you, I have several of them. And believe it or not, I could flip bottles. That was part of my.
Okay.
You get more tips if you do stuff like that, and more phone numbers. So
I like it.
I made it to the drink, and it is actually Canada's best. I won it. It's a Caesar, it's called. And it's not even a drink you have in America. It's like a Bloody Mary, except you replace. Now, this sounds really gross, but it tastes really good. You replace You replace the tomato juice with clamato juice.
Okay.
Here's the gross sounding part. Now, clamato juice, for those of you who don't know, is tomato juice with clam juice mixed into it.
Yes.
But it's like a morning drink, and it's a Caesar. And Mott's Clamato had a big contest, the best Caesar in Canada contest, and I actually won for the best Caesar in Canada. So my greatness started, and here's the weird thing: I hate Caesars. Do not drink them. Do not drink them.
Sound
But
like Bloody
I was
Marys
good at making them. Yeah, no, it's not a drink I drink.
Yeah,
I mean,
me
I don't feel you need to drink in the morning. I mean, my system needs a moment. It needs a buffer.
I'm at 11 o'clock. You know, you got to get me to at least 11.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if it's
I
a
get
crazy
that.
weekend.
I get that.
Yeah, you
So
gotta
speaking of crazy weekends, it's New Year's.
here.
New Year's,
It's
big
here,
parties, big parties. If you're in a part of the world that is not locked down, and if you are in part of those world, you probably will be locked down soon enough. But
especially
I don't
after the New Year's parties.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm not a big resolution guy. I mean, I think every year I try to work on certain things, you know, whether it be business, physical, personal, different things, where at the end of the year I always kind of think, man, I got to make a better effort to get back to people quicker, different things like that. But I didn't want us to end on that kind of crap. I mean, nobody wants to hear, oh, look, Mercer wants to be less fat. Yeah, of course.
Every year of my life since I was like 13.
Like my hair to be better
fat.
too, but that's not going to happen. I decided to have more fun. We're going to have New Year's resolution superpowers.
Yes.
Okay. We're
Yes.
probably, if we did like a weight loss challenge, we probably would fail anyways. So let's just be totally unrealistic from the get-go. If you could choose one superpower that you could get for New Year's that would help you fishing, what would it be, Luke Duncan?
There's only one for me. And you can, you know, sorry, Garmin, sorry, all you other electronics companies, throw them in the garbage. I want X-ray vision, Dave. I want X-ray vision. I want to be able to see. Of course, you have to turn it off when you leave the lake because you don't want your wife, you know, mad at you all the time because you're just superpower. But
I think if you had X-ray vision,
360, I want to see them. I want to see what's actually going on. It's like the AquaView cameras or whatever, these underwater cameras, like that's always fascinated me. Like we get a, you know, basically a representation of what's going on, right? Even though the new stuff is live, but like, can you imagine actually being able to see them react to your bait all the time in 25 feet or dude, it'd make you'd be invincible in that situation. I feel like see how they're set up on a current break in 20 feet, man, dude, that'd be just game over, dude. Game over. Sign me up, Superman of bass.
I feel like it's strong. And I feel like I wouldn't worry about your wife because I feel like if you did procure said X-ray vision, she would understand that there are certain benefits and disadvantages that come with that gift.
It's a blessing and a curse.
There's going to be things you see that you don't want to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
anglers.
Let's not go into that. But if I had to choose, I think I have one up to you once again, Luke Duncan. I think my
you're the varsity guy.
Personal, and I would like to hear other people's what superpower you would like to get for New Year's that would help you fishing. But mine would be one simple thing. I mean, I'm not a great angler. I'm not the world's greatest angler. I mean, although it says that at the beginning of my TV show, it's just on TV. But in real life, I'm not. But I feel confident enough that I can catch a few little ones here and there. I just need the ability to make things grow. I mean, I just want the ability to just be able to go. I mean, you can see them all you want, and you can probably catch 10 times as many as me. But as long as I can get 5 little runts in the boat, and I feel like I should still have a little challenge. I mean, there should still be the ability for me not to catch them. I get 5 little runts, and then I just put them in my bag and go. And then I come in, I'll see you, and I'll ask you, hey, look through that dude's bag and tell me what he's got, so I know how big I got to make him. I just want the ability to make things grow. And if I had that ability, would I even be messing with fishing?
Fish.
If I could make things grow, I would be rich.
Be honest. If we're
then it'd be a happy New Year for all.
You can can make things grow. You're never going bass fishing again.
Ever.
Forget bass fishing.
Mm-mm.
Forget bass fishing. You're never going again. And the same with me with X-ray vision. If I can see through shit, I'm never going. The first time I look through a wall, I'm going to be like, hook up the boat, kids. We're going bass fishing. I'm going to be doing a lot more than that.
Well, maybe we should add a caveat that your superpower only works
on the water
around fishing, because I mean, I'd be going, come to my breast augmentation clinic. You're well. Oh, too big? No.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Okay, maybe it wouldn't be boobs.
Maybe it wouldn't be boobs. Come on.
Could help a lot of people out.
But there
Let me help you, Luke.
You would be you would be everybody's best friend. Can you imagine how your red cell phone would never stop ringing?
It definitely would.
The red cell phone would never stop ringing. Well, you guys and gals out there, be sure to drop us a comment. You know how this works. We want to know what's your superpower. If you could wake up on the 21st, what am I saying? On 2021, man. This is, of course, I flubbed that at the end.
We got to redo this whole thing.
We got to redo this whole episode now. Oh my God. But if you wake on January 1st, 2021, if you could pick one fishing superpower, what would it be? Now, I think Dave and I both picked really good ones, but if I've got my choice between using that for fishing or good and evil, I think that I'm going to take mine out into the world, and I'm going to join the scammer in the Batman game.
I'm a scammer, mate.
I'm a scammer, mate. I like that. I like that a lot.
One thing I want to point out that's really cool that I'm seeing happening here with all of our humpers. I mean, and been thinking about it, you know, because we got the low lifers that listen to Low Budget Live, and you should, if you haven't, you should listen to Low Budget Live every Monday. Comes out. Make sure you listen to it. But you should also listen to LD and the MC, which comes out middle of the week, and that's what makes you guys the humpers. And this show's a little different because, I mean, you think early in the week, I mean, they're fresh, they're ready to start. I mean, we got a different job, dude. We got a beat down crew that they've been yelled at by their boss. They've been cut off in traffic. They're a little bit grumpier. They're trying to get through the week, and that's our job to bring them up. And I appreciate all of them for tuning in. But one of the cool things that I'm seeing with the humpers is several people commenting on YouTube that weren't even YouTube viewers. You know, they're watching
very cool
on Spotify or listening on Spotify or listening on one of the pod platforms, and they said, hey man, I just came here just to give feedback. I mean, that's what this show is. We want us and the humpers are a community, and my New Year's resolution and hope is, honestly, let's think about this right now today, where this show is just 10 weeks into it. Let's not imagine it this time next year. Honestly, I think in 2021, me and you, dude, and all of these humpers, we can blow this show up. I mean, I'm having honestly more fun doing this show than I mean, I love all my jobs, all the stuff I get to do. I love every one of it. But this has been one of the biggest surprises for me, because when me and you talked about it, I was like, yeah, I want to do it. It's fun. I mean, me and Luke get on the phone and we talk for hours.
Forever. Yeah, it works.
We talked for literally months about doing this.
We did.
But it's been more fun than I ever imagined, Luke, just because, you know, there's no limits. We can change every week. We can give people's feedback. There's so many questions that we haven't even got to answering that we will get to. And I just want to say thank you, guys. Thank you for making this what it is. And thank you for allowing this to be a thing. And let's make it a really freaking big thing. And let's own the hump. We can't own the week, just the hump.
But we can collectively put our flags in the middle of the week. Well, I just, to echo you, MC, this is so much fun. And look, that's something we say a lot. Like, there are a lot of serious podcasts. LBL can be really serious at times. A lot of bass fishing podcasts, they give you the nuts and bolts of different things going on. And we don't want to be that. We don't want to talk about swim baits and crankbaits and the size of your drop shot leader and all that. There's plenty of places to get that, plenty of great places out there to get that kind of information. We want to have fun. We want to talk about fishing. We want to talk about other topics. So anytime that you've got a suggestion for a topic, please let us know, man. We want to, nothing's off limits. I feel like I can say that.
And please keep going to those other podcasts, because we're getting in trouble from some of them. But we wish
The
everybody
hoppers are getting us in trouble.
Happy New Year's to all.
Happy New Year's. Absolutely.
And thank you. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Humpers. And it's been fun, and it's crazy that it does not feel like, number one, the part of me that feels like we've been doing this for, like, it doesn't feel like 10 weeks.
No, not at all.
But it's been a lot of fun, and I gotta go get ready. I mean, I got soirees to go to. I mean, most potters shut down for the holidays, but we stuck with it. So
I get so tired of you being the varsity guy. We'll see you guys later. We hope that whenever we turn the calendar over to 2021, that we can all forget 2020. Let's go. New Year's, baby. New Year's. We'll see y'all first week of January. Happy New Year's, everybody. From LD
and the MC.